Hi, welcome to the JC League House. I'm not there. I'm in the car driving home. It's almost 6. I got about an hour and a half ahead of me. I'm hot and gross. Well, I'm not gross because I actually ran down to Lucas and took a quick shower to drive home. But it's been a hot and gross day. So I'm tired and I just want to get out of there. So I didn't stop to film an intro. But we've just had one day working down here this week, but a lot of things happened today, so I thought I would fill you guys in. So this will just give you a little taste of what's going on. It was one of those weeks where I felt like a ping pong ball. Galveston to do some business, back to Houston to do some work, then back to Galveston to work with Ricardo, then back to Houston to finish up on the rent house. If you've been watching the videos, you know I've had a problem getting a structural engineer out here. And one of the things I needed was a structural engineer to say we could bore a 4-inch hole through the foundation down here to take this pipe inside so we could start on the plumbing. Well, I have contacted so many engineers. I've been emailing engineers across the country. I've been calling. I just cannot get anyone to respond. I think they're just so busy, and boring this hole is such a small thing. No one's really interested. Well, I found another engineer online the other day. I was getting ready to send out another round of email inquiries, and I listed my 3 problems: boring a hole, the drift in the front porch, and then the support structure under the front porch. And I actually attached the video of the front porch repair so that he could see what I was talking about. Well, a couple days later, I got an email back from him. It was very to the point and professional. It said he was very busy. He had a lot of work right now. He loved the video, loved the house, and he had just a couple of questions. One was about the wall here, and another question about the drift. So I replied immediately, shot another video explaining the drift better. Told him working by email was great. There's no reason to make a trip down here if you don't have to. Sent the email off, and several days went by and I never heard anything from him. So I thought, well, here we go again. I've been ghosted by another one. And then last night late, I opened up my email and there was an email from him, and again, it was very short, very professional. It just said, attached is the certification I need to bore the hole. He did it at no charge to me. He was happy to help with the house, and he's still busy right now, but he hopes to be able to help me with all of my engineering needs in the future. So I literally got teary-eyed and almost cried. It was just so kind of him. When people see this house, they're drawn to it, they love it, they want to help it. He took his time, which is very valuable for a professional, to spend the time, even if it just took him an hour. That's money out of his pocket. But I have the certification now. I can go forward with the plumber, and we can move on with this space. So I'm not going to share his name with you. I don't know if he wants that or not, but I am going to ask him if he minds me just giving him a shout out, because it was just an incredibly kind thing to do, and it means so much because I was really just kind of stuck in the water here getting this plumbing moving. So there are great people in the world, there are helpful people in the world, and I just want to express my gratitude. Today's going to be cleanup day. I'll try to get everything out of here, maybe some of the permanent temporary supports set, and start working on trash. There's a lot to do. I thought I was being very clever. Everyone seems to like the time-lapse view of the work, so I set my camera up and let it record for about 40 minutes as the guys took down the forms on the porch and came back to find out I had actually set my camera on super slow-mo. Even when I sped it up 4,000 times, it just kind of comes back to normal video. Sorry, maybe next time. level of clean I hadn't expected. I was really happy to get this particular stain off the wall. It's where someone had poured gasoline and tried to burn the house down, and it was just a constant reminder of that unfortunate event. So it was nice to get it cleaned up and have it gone. This little guy wasn't so happy that we blew away his home. Once Ricardo finished kind of the banister area, he moved around and started on the steps. They were really pretty grungy. We're loaded and are ready to go. While all the pressure washing was going on, the rest of the guys and Maribel were loading up the big trash pile into the truck. I couldn't believe how much they got in there. They're so neat and wasted not an inch of space, and it was piled pretty high. So I took them to the dump, as I've shown you before how that works, but they've never been to this particular one here in Galveston. So I went with them to teach them how to do the process there. And when I came back, Ricardo was still pressure washing. I kind of like the look of things with an aged patina on them, but the good news is down here in Galveston with this climate, it won't take any time at all before this softens back up and has an old feel to it. It was pretty gross and needed to be cleaned. But I did kind of hate to see it looking brand new. You ask why I didn't have a riding lawnmower or a better lawnmower. Well, this is why. This is 2 weeks, and look how high the grass is. It's up to my knees or higher. And when we cleaned out the yard, there were so many stumps left. 100 or more of them, like that guy. And the problem is you don't see them in the tall grass, and you hit them with the lawnmower and it breaks the blade. So I walk around every day with the Sawzall and find these things and cut them all flat to the ground. And we've just gotten to the point where the main part of the yard is clear and we can run the lawnmower over it. So I am ecstatically happy to report that I have hired a professional lawn service. They were nervous about the yard, and we walked every inch of it looking for stumps before they would bring their equipment in. But they agreed to take on the job for a reasonable price, and today they got started. We did have a long discussion about mowing too close to the bench. It's already got a big chunk taken out underneath the seat that I worry about it collapsing. And it's fabulous, and I don't want anything to ever happen to it. The grass is so tall, even the big mower has to go slow. He's also looking for obstructions since this is his first time. Ricardo was on a roll with that pressure washer. I think he was really enjoying doing something different for a change. It's a lot less strenuous and much cooler than what the poor guy usually has to do. So he moved around and started on the fence, which the outside of this brick wall is just really disgusting looking. There's a little obstruction in the way with our demolition of the sidewalk, but he worked around that and it just turned out beautiful. Everything looks so much better. It's all weed-eated. The yard looks good. The trash pile is gone. Most of the fence is clean. The next day, back to the ranch. We're picking up some hardy siding today to finish up that rental house I've been working on in Houston. Ricardo and his crew are going to help me side. That's Maribel, Ricardo's wife. I'm not sure she likes me because years ago when I first met Ricardo, he commented on how hard I worked and he needed his wife to come see what women could do. And sure enough, she joined his crew. She's kind of the business brains, keeps all the books. But in the summer when their son's out of school, she comes and helps. She's a tremendous worker. While we were gone to Lowe's, the guys have been taking the siding off. Here's the problem. It's not that far gone, but then if we're going to all the effort to put the hardy on, this might need to come off. This house will be torn down in 15 years anyway. Here they are working where my childhood home used to stand. Made a lot of progress in a week. I'm also not crazy about the height of this step flashing. It's a piece of flashing that goes with each row of shingles. And if that hardy doesn't sit down, there's a chance for wind to blow up under and get behind this. So I may want to go buy a strip of rolled flashing and put down here in a continuous line with some roofing tar before we put the hardy over the step flashing. Once they were underway with the siding, my job was to tile the kitchen, so I had to set up my tile saw and get everything organized. This was my Christmas present, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It's been through a lot. Okay, you may have heard me say a million times already that I love tile. I'm a tilephobe, if there is such a word. And in my husband's and mine division of labor, I have to do all the tile, but I really don't like it. I like to look at tile, but I don't like to put it up. It's a pain in the neck. So one of the things not done in this house was the backsplash behind the stove, and it's a place that gets a lot of oil and splatter from cooking, so it really needed to be done. And I'm trying to use up some old tile I had left over, and it just didn't work with the dimensions. So I had to go buy a couple of sheets of this diamond pattern to fill in just so I could make the layout of the tile work behind the stove. But now I'm working on cutting in all these stupid plugs. Problem is, when the box is put in, they got put in flush with the sheetrock. The tile adds thickness, so the plug, I have to take it out, pull it out, make sure I cut the tile tight enough so that when I screw it back in, these little wings catch and hold it tight and flush to the tile, which means that these screws aren't long enough. I'll have to take them out and go dig around the garage and find some longer screws to put this back in. So anyway, it'll take me longer to cut these 3 tiles that go around these plugs than it did to do the rest of the whole backsplash. So that's my little project for today. I propped this tile up on the wall so I could talk to you about something. And they're hammering and the house jiggled and it fell down and broke. Guess I'll do it again. Okay, I recut it and I'm going to hold it this time. What I wanted to show you was people ask how I know things, and I say I've been doing it a long time, trial and error. I showed you that you have to take this plug out so that these little tabs can sit on the outside of the tile to bring the plug back flush. Well, the first kitchen I didn't think about that, and I glued everything on like this over the little tabs, and it makes your husband really happy when he has to get a little hacksaw and cut the plug out and replace all the plugs because you've got them stuck in the wall behind the tile. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna let everything dry and then I'll have to come back and clean. Like right here, I can feel it, the adhesive squeezed out even with the tile. And I'm gonna grout with a dark charcoal gray grout and that white will show through. So I'll take a razor blade and come in here and check all my seams, make sure nothing's gonna show through before I get the grout out. Got good progress going on. My grout is old and lumpy, just from humidity, but it'll break up. So I need to go find some wire mesh and sift that, just like you do when you're baking. So try not to buy stuff I don't need. I want to use this up. Okay, I use my kitchen stuff a lot. The hand mixer is really good for mixing paint. It's just like making a cake. Don't judge me by my garage. I'm looking for my tile tools. I found one box and my trowel's not in it, or my float is what I'm looking for. Oh wait, I see. I see tile floats. Of course, it's way up there. Okay, I'm going in. Oops, I heard a big crash. I broke something. Oh well, he shouldn't put that up there. There it is. So while that's kind of gelling, I'm going to come over here and check my area, pull out all the spacers, make sure everything's okay to grout, and by the time I finish, that'll be firmed up and ready to go. So there it is, all grouted. I'm going to let that sit for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, everything's set up a little bit, and I'm going to take just a damp sponge and wipe. And this is a multi-step process. I don't want to wipe too hard and wipe the grout out of the grout lines, but I want to get the big big stuff off. And then I'm going to let it dry for another 20 minutes. And come back and do it again. Okay, I've got to go dump this outside in the rain. My husband takes a very dim view of me pouring grout water down the sink since he's responsible for plumbing. But I want to show you when I pour it out. There's a lot of sand. It's basically just another cement product with sand. They all come in different ratios. Okay, while that's sitting for 25 minutes, I'm just going to pick up all my tools and take them next door. Start cleaning up the kitchen. So it leaves this film, and you just take a rag and buff it. And that's it. Just buff the whole thing. It's painting day. Ricardo left me the scaffolding so I can reach that peak. It took Ricardo and his crew a couple days to get the siding up, and then I started painting, and I hope to finish it all in one day, but Mother Nature had a different idea for me, so I had to take a break and wait for things to dry out. But I was back at it bright and early the next day so that I could get done with this peak area so that my husband could help me with the scaffolding before he had to head off to work. It's done now. It's still ugly, but it's ready for a tenant to move in, so hopefully we'll get a renter soon, and I can turn my attention back to what I love best, and that's getting down to the League-Kempner House. I mean, really, would you rather be working here or here? The next time I'm down, hopefully it will be with the plumber in the basement. That sounds kind of like a game of Clue, but I'm super excited about getting that permit, and this is a game changer as we shift focus and start doing some things to get the house back together. Remember to check out our website where you can make a tax-deductible donation to help with the restoration of this amazing house. See you next time.